Israel. Before we get started, first I'd like to send praises up to God our Father, to the God of our Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of Israel. My name is Priest RamBen Israel.
Okay, through his only begotten
Son,
you, Priest. Jesus the Christ.
I forgot that part. Always important to put that in there. Through his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Priest. Keep me on my ones and twos.
Hey, besides that, my name is Chief Priest Lithiel Ben Israel.
And we were Holy Nation of Israel.
Right.
And we're going to conclude to day 2 of Purim. So please check out day 1 of Purim so you can catch up. So when you watch this, you know where we left off at. Like usual, before we get started, if it's in your spirit, grab your Bible, follow along. Also as well, if you want to take notes, feel free. So, get something to write with, get something to write down on, pencil, pad. Get a pencil to write down on pad or paper. And hopefully this class be very edifying, because this is continuation of Purim. All right, we're going to start off in Esther chapter 7, starting at verse 1. Let's bring this out, please.
Esther chapter 7, verse 1. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen.
Right.
And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition, Queen Esther?
So, King Ahasuerus, he want to know what is Queen Esther, what does she want? Let's find out. Keep reading.
And it shall be granted thee.
So whatever she wanted is going to be granted. Remember, the king said he give you parts of the kingdom and anything you ask for. Let's find out what Esther asked for. Read on, priest.
And what is thy request? And it shall be performed, even to the half of the kingdom.
Half of the kingdom.
Then Esther the queen answered and said,
Said what?
If I have found favor in thy sight, O king.
If I find delight in your sight, king. Read.
And if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition.
So let my life, her main focus was her life, was her petition. Read on, priest.
And my people at my request.
And not only her life, but also her people's. So she understood why she's there, what she's doing it for.
For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed.
Because we are sold right at this time, I, Esther, and my people, the Jews, to be destroyed. To be destroyed by who? By that letter that went out because of Haman. During the time of what they call today, Pur, which means lot. And we keep this today as Purim. And a remembrance of what Esther and Mordecai did for us. Read on, though, priest.
To be slain and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue.
I held my tongue. So she hold her peace. Read.
I held my tongue, although the enemy could not countervail the king's damage.
But even though the enemy could not countervail the king's damage. Read on, priest.
Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen,
Uh-huh.
Who is he?
Who is he you think I can countervail? Who is he you think I can't stop? Read.
And where is he?
And where is this man right now you think I can't defeat right now, girl? Now he has so feeling himself. He's like, girl, you don't know who I am. I'm that dude. Who causing you to have issues right now? You and your peoples. I ain't know what's good. Read on.
That durst presume in his heart to do so.
Because that's what he does in his heart do so. Well, this is what Esther said.
Read. Yeah, that's heavy. Because, hey, Ahasuerus, he said, I want to know who he is.
Right.
And I need to know where he is right now.
Yeah. He like,
that thinks he going to do this.
Yeah, like he think he can get past me. I can't beat him.
And then the crazy part about it is Haman sitting right there. I know he's sweating bullets.
Because he didn't know.
Haman
didn't know.
His stomach's turning. Oh, no,
remember,
right.
Esther.
You're right.
Esther
He
didn't
don't
like
know.
a Jew. Yeah.
You're right. He don't know.
She about to
You're right. He don't know. I take that back.
Yeah.
My fault. Hey, prepare for the mystery, baby. Prepare for the mystery.
Yeah.
Where we at? What verse? Verse 6.
Yep.
It says, and Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman.
Ooh.
You know
so,
now.
So look, check this out. Remember, Haman in the previous chapters, he came in there, he sat at a table, he was surprised that he got invited back the next day. And remember, he went home, but he was upset because before he went home, he saw Mordecai. Now, Mordecai, he was that Jew. He was that Jew that won't give him no reverence, won't bow down, won't do anything to say. So, you know what I mean? He took it upon his friends and his families and said, what should I do? They said, go build a gallows. Yep. So now here it is now. He bringing this gallows man the next day that he's supposed to sit at the table too. This gallows, he left. He said, the king said, who's in the court? He was like, you know what I mean? It's your boy Haman. Haman like, yo, what's up? He said, Haman, what should I do to the man that I have delight in. And Haman thought he was talking about himself.
Yeah, I remember the story. Yeah. Hey, look, Esther, at this time, I knew exactly what was going on. This is what's going on. He didn't know Esther was a Jew, so he didn't know her at that point, but he knows her now.
Yeah,
he knows her now. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Now, I jumped the gun earlier. Now is the time when this Edomite is sweating bullets. Yo, he's sweating bullets right now.
So
you know what I'm talking
verse
about?
7 then. Let's continue on. Verse 7.
Verse 7. And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. That Haman was afraid before the king and the queen. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden.
So you know how we ain't supposed to be angry and drunk at the same time. So not only did he's...
Well, it don't matter about him. He's a heathen anyway.
He's a heathen. But I'm saying, just imagine though, he's on the juice, and he's upset.
Man, it's more than just the juice, yo. I'm telling you now, it's more than just the juice. It's that woman too.
Oh yeah, Esther, her beauty.
It's that woman too. Because remember, he fell for Shorty. He fell for Esther. And now he got that wine in him. And he got the power to go behind the wine too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now he's on a different level. He's on a warpath now. What we at?
Verse 7.
Oh, I got it. And Haman stood up to make requests for his life to Esther the queen.
Hey,
but he saw.
Before we continue on, let's go to chapter 6 real quick. And let's go to 13. I just want to...
Esther 6 verse 13. And Haman and Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends, everything that... Excuse me. I'm going to read it again. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends, everything that had befallen them. Then said his wise men, and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews.
The seed of who?
The Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall.
Before thou become to fall. So before you even fall, you're going to fall to a Jew. Read.
Thou shalt not prevail against them.
Ain't going to beat this Jew. You ain't. If you say he a Jew, who ain't going to prevail, Haman? Read on.
But shall surely fall before him.
But you going to surely fall before him. Let's go back to second. I got you. Esther 7 and verse 7. Bring this up.
And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen.
He should have taken heed to his wife, but he didn't. And let's find out what's going on.
For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. That man's counting his bearing witness against him in that one. And it wasn't no sodomite thing either. The king, he knew the king was about to kill him.
Yeah, he did.
He knew it, yo. He saw it in his face.
It was over.
Because one thing about women and simps, which the king was a simp. One thing about women and simps, a simp will kill you over it. That's exactly what's about to happen to Haman, and he saw that right there. Verse 8. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place
of the banquet
of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was fallen.
So he got down, he fell on his knees. He's begging now. He begging. He bitching out. Read on, priest.
Then said the king.
What he say?
Will he force the queen also before me in the house?
So if you came to find out that you went through everything you said in your decree, it came upon the queen. Once you found out, would you put me in front of the queen? Let's find out. Read on.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Damn.
He said, not no more. If I knew she was a Jew, I probably never would have said what I said, king. But keep reading.
Said they covered Haman's face. It almost sounds like they put a bag on a nigga head. Excuse me, on this eating my head from the back. You ever seen the movies? They come up behind you, put a little bag on you or something, or put one of them cloths around your face. That's what it sounds like happened to him. Verse 9. And Harbonah, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold also the gallows, 50 cubits high.
Yeah, this is the one he built for Mordecai.
And for the Jews, right? Not just Mordecai, he's putting on Jews on that, right?
But the first person you want to put up there was Mordecai.
Yeah, but Jews came right after that, right?
Oh yeah.
Also, it ain't just for Mordecai, it's for the Jews. It was for us. It says, which Haman had made for Mordecai, whom had spoken good for the king.
And remember, Mordecai spoken good for the king about his two chamberlains. Read.
Standeth in the house of Haman.
Standing in the house of Haman. Read.
Then the king said.
King said what?
Hang him thereon.
Put his head, hang him from what he brought in my house. Read.
Yeah, he built it up for Mordecai, for the Jews. Put him on it. I love this story. It's a beautiful story. So they hanged. Why didn't they say forgive him? Why didn't Esther ask to forgive? And I hate to cut you off and ask that, because I just be seeing Negroes always like forgive. Why didn't Esther beg to forgive him? Why didn't Mordecai beg to forgive him?
Because you reap what you sow.
It makes a lot of sense to me.
So
Makes a lot of sense to me.
he wanted death for the Jews, and he got death instead.
So you get death.
Yeah.
But see, Negroes don't understand that. This right here, this is why I love these type of stories right here.
Matter of fact, it says for Jews to have salvation, got to be discretion of our enemies.
Yep. Wisdom of Solomon 18.
Here you go, right here, and proven in history, not for a testimony.
Just another story. Just another story, another historical story that backs up that statement.
Yeah.
Real talk. This high holy day is a high holy day that backs up that statement. No salvation without the destruction of our enemies. Verse 10. So they hanged Haman on the gallows. So they hanged Haman.
So Haman got hanged. On what? On the same gallows he built for Mordecai. Read.
On the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai.
And what happened to the king's wrath?
Then was the king's wrath pacified.
He was like, shit, this is it. Basically, this was light work, baby. It was light work, baby. But let's find out. Keep going on.
Chapter 8, verse 1. On that day did the king Ahasuerus give the house of Haman, the Jews' enemies, unto Esther the queen. And Mordecai came before the king, for Esther had told what he was unto her.
Yep, so now he kind of found out that Mordecai's more than what he thought he was at the gate. They kind of found out they blood relatives, they cousins, they related. You know what I mean? Read on.
And the king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it unto Mordecai. And Esther set Mordecai over the house of Haman.
So my man took off the ring he gave to Haman and put it on Mordecai's hand. Read on.
And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet. Yeah, this is why the king loved this woman. Does it make sense here? And besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite and his device that he had devised against the Jews. She wanted to reverse the decree that went out to destroy all the Jews that was in that province and all the king's province from Ethiopia to India. Remember, the king had over 127 provinces. Read on, priest. And the king held out the golden scepter toward Esther.
Hey, so, he always do that thing. He hold that golden scepter out to Esther. Cause Esther, he found delight. Read on. So Esther arose and stood before the king, and said, "If it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the king seemed right before, and the things seem right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews which are in all the king's provinces." He read on, priest. For how can I endure to see the evil that shall come unto my people? Or how can I endure to see the destruction of my kindred? So she was asking, like, how can I look and see all the devastation come to my people and stand by and not do nothing? I have to do something. So she did do something. She wanted the king to reverse what Haman put out there. Since Haman was dead, guess what the king did? Read on. Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and unto Mordecai the Jew, Behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman. Hey, you don't know I just gave you the house of Haman? Read on. And him that hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hand upon the Jews. Because what he did to the Jews. I already did this for you. I don't think I'm going to do more. Continue on, priest. Write ye also for the Jews, as it liketh you. So, here it is. Put it in what you want for the Jews, just like you. Read on. In the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name, and sealed with the king's ring, may no man reverse. So now when this come out, can no man reverse it. So let's find out what was in this writing that Esther did. Read on, priest. Then were the king's scribes called at the time in the 3rd month, that is, the month Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof. And it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews. And guess what? Esther didn't come up with this. She listened to Mordecai, her cousin, who she installed like a father, who she treated like a father does a daughter. She listened to him. That's how you know Esther was on a different level than most of these women today. Like majority of them. It's not even just like it's like a daughter wouldn't treat a father, but like a woman is supposed to treat a man anyway. Yeah. She took heed. Yeah. And that's why we're about to find out why this is a Mordecai day. Yep. And to the lieutenants and the deputies and the rulers of the provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia, in 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and so to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. So basically everybody be able to understand what the king's writing out in their own on, priest.
And he wrote in the king Ahasuerus' name and sealed it with the king's ring, and sent letters by post on horseback and riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries, wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, and to stand for their life.
So when what Mordecai wrote that came in the king's name that was sent out by his post on horseback, riders on mules, camels, and young dromedaries. When they got to the cities they went to, the 127 provinces, this is what it was inscribed in the letter. Read on, priest. Start verse 11 again.
Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, to destroy, to slay.
So we have permission to stand for our life. When it comes to our life, either our life or their life. When it came to their life, we was able to destroy, to slay. Read on.
And to cause to perish all the power of the people and province that would assault them.
And to destroy all the people in the province that would assault us.
I like this next part too.
So basically it was tit for tat. You know what I mean?
I like this next part.
Both
little ones and women. That goes to what do they call them? Karens.
Yeah, Karen.
All the Karens.
But look, I'm looking like this. Everybody get it too, from the baby to the grandmama.
That's
Everybody
the point.
get it.
The Karens. Because if everybody got it too, Karen wouldn't be Karen, would she? If everybody got it too.
Everybody getting it.
Everybody
getting it during Purim right now. Everybody getting it when this letter came out. Keep reading though, priest.
And to take the spoil of them for a prey.
So anything left behind for a spoil, take it for a prey. Take it for a prey. Take everything, jewelry, wherever they left, wherever they left behind, take it for your prey. Read on.
Upon one day in all provinces of King Ahasuerus, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar.
So it was upon one day in all the provinces of the King Ahasuerus, namely. And this day that namely was on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. And what was written on this day? Read, priest.
The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, and that the Jews should be ready against the day to avenge themselves on their enemies.
So it's going to be a day that the Jews are going to be ready to avenge themselves on their enemies. Read on, priest.
So the post that rode upon mules and camels went out, being hastened and pressed on by the king's commandment.
Hey, this thing went out fast. We call that, that overnight shipment. Day air shipment, UPS, USPS, be on that. Read on, priest.
And the decree was given at Shushan the palace. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with garment of fine linen and purple.
Hey,
he city of Shushan.
He went out the same way Haman dressed him up in. He went out the same way Haman dressed him up in.
He went out in a way that was reflective of his status, yo.
Yeah, royalty.
And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad.
The city of Shushan was rejoicing and they was glad. So they were glad when they saw Mordecai. Read on, priest.
The Jews had light and
Jews
gladness.
Had what? The Jews had
light and gladness.
So they had a guide. They had someone that had their back. And not only that, he brought gladness amongst them. Read.
Joy and honor.
Joy and honor came with Mordecai when he did what he did.
That light going into laughter.
Oh, yeah, the light.
Yeah, they had laughter and gladness and joy and honor. They were celebrating.
Yeah, matter of fact, not just Mordecai too, Esther. Esther too, she was a part of that light.
Yeah, the Jews. Yeah. So Mordecai and Esther fit in, the Jews. There was laughter, gladness, joy, and honor.
She was joined in on it too. She won't left out.
Yep. Verse 17. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. That's how you know it was laughing.
Feast, and after the feast, they had a good day. So they had a feast before, and then after the feast, guess what they had next day? A good day.
Yep.
That's why it's 2 days. A feast and a good day. Relax, kick your feet. Keep reading, priest.
And many of the people of the land became Jews.
I understand why. Read on.
Yeah, I understand why, but they weren't Jews.
Yeah, I
just want to put that out there. They weren't Jews.
They saw all the devastation that came with them being killed by the Jews.
Yeah, what these converts think. For the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
That's the point. That's the whole point. The fear. They said basically it's better to get down than to lay down when it comes to the Jews when they come into town. Read on verse 9. We almost finished.
Chapter 9:1. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same.
Yeah, right now this is the 13th day of the same. So right now we in the 14th day.
13th day. Oh yeah, right now.
We in the 14th day, being the second day. Read on, priest.
When the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution. In the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them.
So in the days of the enemies thought they had power over the Jews, but it was reversed. Read on, priest.
Though it was turned to the contrary.
There it goes. It was turned to the contrary. It was reversed. It was switched.
That the Jews had rule over them that hated them.
It was switched on that. It was known then that the Jews had to hate over them. Had rule over them that hated them. Excuse me. Read on, priest.
The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of King Ahasuerus.
And remember, that's 127. Read on.
To lay hand on such as sought their hurt.
Yeah, they wanted to lay hand on the Jews that sought them hurt. But what on?
And no man could withstand them.
But no man could withstand the Jews. Read.
For the fear of them fell upon all people. And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and officers of the king.
Did what?
Helped the Jews.
That's what they did. It came into the defense of the Jews. Read on.
Because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them.
Fear of Mordecai fell upon them. And remember, if Haman would have listened to his wife, he probably would have been hung on that gallows. But, that pride got into him. He went and did it anyway. So, when it comes to falling in the hands of the Jews, I want our brothers to know God got our back. Those that believe.
And Mordecai, this just shows you how great Mordecai was, yo. You know what I'm saying? This is another reason why Purim is also called Mordecai Day. I mean, it just shows you how great that man was. Verse 4. For Mordecai was great in the king's house.
Yeah, Mordecai did great wonders in the king's house. Read on.
And his fame went out throughout all the provinces.
Everybody knew who Mordecai was. Basically, Mordecai was a celebrity.
Hey, they didn't say some of the provinces.
He said all provinces.
All of them. Yeah. Was it 147?
No, 127.
127?
Yep.
It was 147.
127 from India to from Ethiopia to India.
Yeah, 127. Yeah, from Ethiopia to India, he was known to all of them charts.
Kind of like Samuel.
Yeah, that's different, man. That's different. That's
man walked through the city.
That's
everybody
a different type of celebrity right there, bro. Different type of celebrity. Oh yeah, verse 5.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, verse 4. So
no, we finished reading that because you. Well, go ahead.
No, I ain't finished it. Verse 4. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater.
The Most High just kept blessing this man Mordecai. He kept blessing with more substance and more wisdom. Read on, priest.
More riches, more fame. Yeah. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword.
And Jews about that word. We put in that word. We kill all our enemies with the stroke of the sword. Those mighty men. Not no beta males. Mighty men. Read on, priest.
And slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them.
Yeah, they turned they reap what they sowed.
Yep. And in Shushan the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men.
How many men?
500 men.
So there was 500 men that the Jews slew in Shushan, the capital where King Ahasuerus and Esther dwell at. Read on, priest.
And Parshandatha, and Dalphon, and Aspatha, and Poratha, and Adelia, and Aridatha, and Parmashta, and Ariai, and Aridai, and Vajezatha, the 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hamadatha, the enemy of the Jews, slew they.
So the Jews slew the sons of Haman. Keep reading.
Hey, next time give me a hint about all these names. But on the spoil laid but on the spoil laid they not their hand. On that day the number of those that were slain in Shushan the palace was brought before the king.
Keep reading.
And the king said unto Esther the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan the palace.
And the king came back to Esther and said, look what I did. Look what the Jews and I did. We destroyed 500 men of Shushan that went against y'all. Read on.
And the 10 men of Haman, the 10 sons of Haman, what have they done in the rest of the king's provinces. Now, what is thy petition?
So now what more should we do? Read on.
And it shall be granted thee.
Hey, he wanted to do more for Esther. Dang. He just want to keep pleasing Esther. Yeah, he was kind of like a simp. Read on, priest.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I'm glad you said it. For what is thy request further? And it shall be done.
Yeah, let's see what Esther said.
Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow also according unto this day decree. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows.
Hey, I love that sister right
So
there.
do I.
I love that sister right there. She was
So
always for her people. When she realized what they wanted to do, she said, nah, let them all receive the same thing they father received. Read on, priest.
Yeah. You can't help but love that sister right there, yo. She played the heathen simp the right way. And she respected her, and she respected Mordecai, her father figures.
Yep.
You can't help but love that sister. And the king, verse 14, and the king commanded it so to be done.
Hey, the king, you know one thing I like about us was he ain't mad bloodshed.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
He had a different type of what is it called? Mannerism about himself.
Yeah, you know something else I noticed. Heathen never do. Heathen never mind bloodshed. They never mind.
And Esther kind of knew that a little bit.
Hey, all praises, because I ain't gonna lie. Us as Jews, we don't mind the bloodshed either. So once it switch around, we're going to accept it too.
Hey, bring that out. Read on, priest.
Verse 14, and the king commanded it so to be done, and the decree was given at Shushan.
Yeah, the 10 sons got hanged.
And they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
Right.
For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered together, themselves together. Yeah, you good. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day.
So
also,
remember, the 13th day and the 14th day of the month of Adar. Read on, priest.
Of the month of Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan.
So remember, after that great feast came that good day, and on this good day they hung the 10 sons of Haman on this day, on the 14th day. Read on, priest.
But on the prey they laid not their hand. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for themselves, or stood for their lives. My fault. And stood for their lives and had rest from their enemies.
Have rest from their enemies. So they stood up for their lives, ended up defeating them, and now they have rest from their enemies. Keep reading.
And slew of their foes 70 and 5,000.
So it was known that they killed 75,000 of their enemies. Read on.
But they laid not their hands on the prey. On the 13th day of the month Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested they.
So on the 13th day of Adar, and on the 14th day, that was a two-day feast of Purim. Read on, priest.
And made it a day of feasting and gladness. But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same they rested.
Right.
And made it a day of feasting and gladness.
And that's what we do today. We're supposed to make this day the day of Purim, a day of gladness. We're supposed to come together as brothers and sisters and have a feast and honor remembrance of our foremothers and forefathers. Read on, priest.
Therefore the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day in of sending portions one to another.
All praises.
That's the gifts. Verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things, and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly.
So yearly we're supposed to come together as Israel, as Jews, and keep the 14th and the 15th day of Adar. However, according to the text, it was kept on the 13th and the 14th day. It was just only until we got around to all the provinces on the 15th day that they all do their rest. But keep reading on, priest.
As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day.
It was switched. First it went out sorrow, where they made a fast that lasted 3 days and 3 nights. And not only that, they lamented, they said supplication.
A feast, you said fast.
Oh, no, I thought they fast. No. I was talking about the morning, the sorrow, from the sorrow to the joy. I remember Esther when it came down to them knowing what was going on.
Oh, okay, I got you.
They made a fast. I went back.
I got you.
Yeah, I went back. My bad. Yeah, for the morning. So remember, from the sorrow to joy. So that was that sorrow. Them being basically had a bounty on their head that Haman put out for them. And since Haman put that out for them, keep reading.
Basically, from 3 days of sorrow
To
fasting,
3 days.
3 days of actually getting the rest.
Yeah.
Because it said they rest on the 13th,
The 14th,
14th, and they actually rested on the 15th as well. So it's the same thing, And from mourning into a good day. And that would be the actual day that was supposed to die.
But they're not turning around for their favor.
Exactly.
That's the reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Read on, priest.
That they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor. And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them, because Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of all the Jews,
And I just want our people to remember, we have enemies in these last days as well. Read on, priest.
had devised against the Jews to destroy them.
Just like they did in times of iniquity, they do in the times of the present right now. They devise against the Jews today to what?
It had cast that is the lot, to consume them.
Yep,
And
to
to
destroy
destroy
them, and to have cast lots. That is the lot to consume them and to destroy them. Read on, priest.
But when Esther came before the king, he commanded by letters that this wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head, and that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows. Wherefore they call these days Purim.
They call these days Purim. That's why we keep Purim. Read on, priest.
After the name of
After the name of Per, and I got an annotation in my Bible. Per means that is Lot.
Yep,
Read on,
I got the
priest.
same thing. It's the letter T. That is Lot. Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail. See, that was the mistake right there, though. Took upon all such that is joined unto themselves.
Oh, you talking about? I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
I know you're going to go back to that precept.
I hate that part.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is what it is. But I love my people. But some camps be doing that too. Remind me of today. But anyway, whole nother story. So as it should not fail, that they would my fault, bro. My fault, man. So as it should not fail.
Hey, anybody probably ain't watching. They was like, yo, they.
I didn't say no names, bro.
Yeah,
I didn't say no names.
But one came to my head quick, but go ahead.
But I didn't say no names, man. So as it should not fail, that they would
Man,
keep
Bumpy, GOCC. Bumpy, that's what came to my head, GOCC.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and just get to the class. That's funny, man. So as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation.
So every generation.
Yep.
So when we come back to knowing who we are as Israelites, you know, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Americans, when we take on putting off the old customs that we learned from this world and putting on our original customs that we learned from the Bible, we understand that we're supposed to keep the Feast of Purim, just like we're supposed to keep all high holy days is mentioned in the Bible.
I'm glad you said that because I want to make a point too. This is a great precept for all the people who say, well, I don't keep destruction in the can or Purim or dedication because I don't find it in Leviticus 23. You know those brothers you hear about, those sisters, well, those people are slow because right here, listen to it again. I want everybody to pay attention to what's being said. It says, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, yo. That's every generation of the Jews.
Yeah.
And then it goes further than the Jews because now it's every generation of the Israelites, right? We all supposed to remember these days. I'm going to read it again because I'm going to remember this precept just for somebody who say it's not in Leviticus 23. This is Esther chapter 9 and verse 28.
Bring it out.
And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation.
Every generation.
Every family.
Every family.
Every province.
Every province.
And every city.
And every city.
And that these days of Purim.
These days of Purim.
should not fail from among the Jews.
Hey, you know what's so funny is
Heavy.
You know how we know that these the words in the Bible did not fail, because when we read in the who's and where when we got to a part, I think in Mordecai or maybe Haman, it's talking about how they now consider this week kind of like they did with Easter. They did with Easter under Pentecost. They did the same thing with the Mardi Gras. They did it under Purim. I remember their book bringing it out. They equate the same time period, which is this month we in, the 12th month, to the time of Mardi Gras and the time of Purim, how people came together, dressed up in a festival, had a good time. But that's how wicked, the other nations are. Because they understood, to get everybody on board, especially when it came to Christianity, how can we get all these people to believe in something on a mass scale that used to believe in all these deities and gods? And we just showing you in history, and the history is letting it be told that everybody copied the Jews. Everybody copied the Jews. From whatever we celebrated back in that time, they got something to celebrate now. Like, for example, like I said, Pentecost, they got Easter. Or Passover, they got Easter. Hanukkah, they gave us, Christmas. So stuff like that. They always try to emulate, copy over what we've been doing.
And also, back to what I was saying, with this, with brothers who say you can't, there's no need to celebrate these particular holidays or holy days because it's not written in Leviticus 23. This is the perfect example to show you why you do it. This is something that's been ordained of our people.
Yeah.
Just like destruction in the Canor was ordained, dedication was ordained. Purim is something that's been ordained, something that we bound here in earth. Matter of fact, hold this and give me a precept real quick. Give me Matthew 18. We come right back to this. I know you almost done with your class.
Yeah, we only got one.
But I want to get a scripture. Matthew 18:18.
Book of St. Matthew, chapter 18 and verse 18. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bound on earth shall be bound in heaven.
Whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. The remembrance and the keeping of these 2 days of Purim is something that our people bound here in earth, yo. So guess what? It's been bound in heaven. Just like dedication was something that was bound in earth, so it's been bound in heaven. Real talk. And we know that's true because Christ kept the dedication. And we don't find that in Leviticus 23, do we?
No, we do not. We find that in St. John 10.
So right there, and this verse right here is just real hard. But anyway, I'm going to read verse 28 again because I just love it. Verse 28, and it says,
bring it out.
These days, I'm going to read it again, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation.
So these days is going to be remembered and kept throughout every generation.
Every family.
Every family is going to keep these, basically keep these days, read.
Every province and every city. And that these days of Purim should not fail.
What?
These days of Purim
should not
fail from among the Jews.
So Purim always supposed to be a thing we keep amongst the Jews.
Yep.
From every generation, every family, every province, no matter where we live in every city, we are always supposed to be keep the feast of Purim.
We'll always keep it.
Yep.
Nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
Neither should we let the memorial of Purim perish. So the words that Esther, Mordecai, and the rest of the Jews doing back in that time, should we not forget?
Yep.
We should always honor and remembrance and reverence these days.
Bro, we should look. Every other nation always remember their days.
Fast.
Edomites remember Thanksgiving. What
4th
was
of July.
that? What was that? 1620?
Oh,
Goddamn, the landing on Plymouth Rock or something. They always remember 4th of July. What's that? 1776.
Yeah.
They always remember their days. Well, we supposed to remember our days too, because our days are days of true independence and liberation, yo.
True
True deliverance. True salvation. And then a little
destruction out there. Hey, at the end of the day, as Israel, we all know you can't have salvation on a little destruction.
Right.
A little destruction. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of destruction.
And this next one is going to be salvation with a lot of destruction.
But to us, it's going to be little. It's going to be a lot in there.
Verse 29. Verse 29. Then Esther the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm the second letter of Purim.
Yeah, so they wrote all authority to confirm the first letter they sent out during the time of Purim. Read on.
And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdoms of the kingdom of Ahasuerus with words of peace and truth.
With words of peace and truth. Read on, priest.
To confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed.
And to confirm to keep the days in the feast of Purim and the times appointed. So future generations of Jews are going to keep Purim. Read on, priest.
According as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them.
I love that. Mordecai the Jew and Esther, she a Jew, but Esther the queen. Read on.
And as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matter of the fasting.
I want to say something too. For all y'all sisters, not y'all believers, but all y'all sisters that are like to goddamn join on to the other nations, listen to what Esther did when she joined on to their nation. She was still for her nations. Yep. She still didn't forget where she came from. But a lot of our brothers and a lot of our sisters, when they go into the other team, when the Bible tells not to, they forget about us.
And Esther ain't had no choice. And hers was hers was by the hand of God.
Mm-hmm.
Esther didn't have no choice. All you other sisters that went to the other nations, stay with the other nations. We don't want you back. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how anybody else feels. I don't want you back. And it's the same thing with the brothers too. Stay with the other nations. We don't want you back. You can't come back over here.
Join hands in hand.
Exactly. Stay together. Stay there. Well, unless you repent. Unless you repent. Let me throw that in there. My qualifier.
Both are qualified.
Bring it out.
Repent, and be converted.
Right.
Hey,
verse 31.
31. All right.
Yeah, verse 31. To confirm these days of Purim in their times appointed, according as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed the matters of the fastings and their cry. And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim. And it was written in the book.
It was written in the book. And with that, I ain't gonna read the rest of that 10.
We might go finish 10 out.
Go ahead.
Chapter 10 and 1. And the king Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power and of his might, and the declaration of the greatness of Mordecai. Love it. Whereunto the king advanced him. Are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia? For Mordecai.
So the Persian Medes literally has a book of the chronicles in their history. So Iran got a book of Mordecai, believe it or not. Real shit. Iran got a book of Mordecai that they know that he did and what they did during the time of Adar.
Or somebody has it. It might be them. Could be the Vatican. You know what I'm saying? You never know. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people.
Seeking the wealth of his people, so being for his people.
Yep, and speaking peace to all his seed.
And speaking peace to all his seeds.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yep.
That's a good read.
And with that, y'all can pick up and read the rest of Esther and Apocrypha for yourself for more edifications. Also, to go back and read the book of Esther, because we're in a time of Purim. Know our history. Get to know your history about yourself. Because remember, how you know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the same way we open up. First and foremost, by giving all praises to God, the God of our father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of Israel. My name is Priest RamBen Israel.
Hey, well, through his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. My name is Chief Priest Lithiel Ben Israel.
Hey, man, I always appreciate Priest keeping me on my ones and twos, always through the name of his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. Always. And with that, we were Holy Nation of Israel. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the lesson.
Yep.
Check us out on Facebook at Holy Nation of Israel. Also, check us out on Facebook. Check me out, RamBen Israel on Facebook.
Hey, check me out, Lithiel Ben Israel on Facebook.
Yep. And when it comes to YouTube, check out all our social media platforms as well. And also, we're on our social media platform on Instagram, on YouTube, Facebook. Always follow, like, share, subscribe, comment. Because, Edomites, they hate that there. And with that, I say Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Most High Christ bless.
Shalom, Israel.